The Discovery. Dr. Emily Carter adjusted her helmet as she stepped out of the spaceship. The air was thin, and she could feel a gentle breeze on her face. She looked around in wonder at the strange, colorful landscape. Bright blue plants swayed softly in the wind, and tall purple mountains stood majestically in the distance. Emily had always dreamed of exploring other worlds, and now she was finally here on the planet Zorith. The mission was simple: collect samples and study the alien life. As an astrobiologist, Emily was excited to find new forms of life. She walked carefully, making sure not to step on the delicate flowers that dotted the ground. Each step felt like an adventure. Her heart raced with the thrill of discovery. As she moved deeper into the forest, Emily noticed something unusual. A soft glow caught her eye from behind a cluster of rocks. Curious, she approached slowly. The glow grew brighter, revealing a small creature about the size of a rabbit. It had smooth, silver skin that shimmered in the light. Its large eyes sparkled like stars, and it seemed to be watching her. Emily's breath caught in her throat. "Wow," she whispered to herself. "What are you?" The creature tilted its head, as if trying to understand her. It moved closer, and Emily knelt down to get a better look. The creature emitted a soft hum, a sound that made Emily feel calm and happy. She reached out a hand, and the creature sniffed it cautiously. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the forest. Emily's heart raced as she turned to see a massive, dark figure charging towards her. It was a large predator, covered in rough, spiky skin. The creature's sharp teeth glinted in the light as it opened its mouth to roar again. "Run," Emily shouted, her voice filled with fear. She scrambled to her feet, glancing back at the glowing creature. It seemed to sense the danger and darted into the bushes. Emily's instinct to survive kicked in, and she sprinted away from the beast, her feet pounding against the soft earth. Branches whipped at her face as she dashed through the underbrush. The roar of the predator grew louder, echoing in her ears. Emily could hear it crashing through the trees behind her, growing closer. She had to find a way to escape. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she spotted a narrow opening in a rocky hill. Without thinking, she dove inside, narrowly avoiding the jaws of the beast. The cave was dark and cool, and Emily took a moment to catch her breath. She could still hear the creature outside, snarling and scratching at the entrance. As she sat in the dark, she felt her heart pounding in her chest. What just happened? She thought. This planet is more dangerous than I imagined. But deep down, she knew she had discovered something special. The glowing creature was still out there, and it might hold the key to understanding this alien world. In the shadows of the cave, Emily closed her eyes and listened to the sounds outside. She felt a spark of determination. She would find a way to learn more about this planet and its secrets. There was no turning back now. The struggle for survival. Inside the cool, dark cave, Emily felt her heart racing. The sounds of the predator outside grew softer, but she knew it was still lurking nearby. She pressed her back against the cold stone wall, trying to calm herself. What should I do now? She thought. The cave was her only safe place for now, but how long could she stay hidden? As minutes passed, she decided to take a look outside. Carefully, she peered out from the cave entrance. The forest was quiet now, the only sound being the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Emily held her breath, waiting for any sign of danger. Finally, she stepped out, ready to continue her mission. The forest looked different in the daylight. The vibrant colors of the plants were even more beautiful. Emily took a moment to appreciate her surroundings, but she reminded herself that she was in a dangerous place. She needed to find her team and report what had happened. Emily walked cautiously, scanning her environment for any signs of the creature that had chased her. She felt a mix of excitement and fear. Suddenly, she heard a rustling sound nearby. Her heart skipped a beat, and she turned to see the glowing creature peeking out from behind a bush. It seemed to be watching her, its big eyes filled with curiosity. "Hey, little one," Emily said softly, kneeling down. "I'm glad to see you." The creature moved closer, its glow lighting up the shadows around them. Emily felt a strange comfort from it, and she decided to name it Luma, after its bright light. Luma made a soft humming sound, and Emily felt a sense of connection with it. "We need to find my team," she said. "Can you help me?" Luma nodded and then began to move away, looking back at Emily to follow. Together, they ventured deeper into the forest. Luma led the way, darting between the trees and underbrush. Emily followed closely, grateful for the creature's glow that kept her path lit. After a while, they reached a clearing where she spotted her team's equipment scattered on the ground. "Finally," Emily exclaimed. She rushed forward to gather the supplies. But as she bent down to pick up a pack, a loud roar echoed through the trees, sending chills down her spine. The predator had returned. It burst into the clearing, eyes locked on Emily and Luma. "Run!" she shouted, grabbing the pack and sprinting in the opposite direction. Luma dashed alongside her, its glow brightening the way. The ground shook as the creature chased them, and Emily could hear its heavy breathing close behind. They zigzagged through the trees, trying to escape. Emily's lungs burned, but she pushed herself to run faster. She had to protect Luma and herself. Suddenly, she spotted a fallen tree with a hollow trunk. Without thinking, she dove inside, pulling Luma in with her. Inside the hollow tree, they both huddled in silence. The roar of the predator faded as it searched for them. Emily's heart raced as she listened to the creature snarl outside. They were safe for now, but she knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. "Luma, we need a plan," Emily whispered. The creature looked at her with its bright eyes, and for a moment, she felt they shared the same fear. They had to find a way to survive. As the minutes passed, Emily thought about her team. She hoped they were safe, but she felt responsible for their well-being. She promised herself that she would find a way to save them, just as Luma had saved her. Together, they would face whatever dangers lay ahead. Unlikely allies. Emily sat quietly inside the hollow tree, her heart still racing from their narrow escape. Luma nestled beside her, its soft glow providing a comforting light in the darkness. She looked at the creature, realizing how much it meant to her. "We've made it this far together, Luma," she said softly. "I think we can do more." After a few moments, the sounds of the predator faded. Emily slowly emerged from the tree, peering into the clearing. The forest was peaceful again, but she knew they had to keep moving. "We need to find my team," she whispered, and Luma nodded in agreement. As they walked, Emily's mind raced with thoughts of her crew. She remembered the faces of her fellow scientists. Jake, the strong and brave leader. Sarah, the tech expert with a quick wit. And Marcus, the gentle giant who loved animals. She hoped they were safe and waiting for her. Luma guided Emily through the thick underbrush, its light cutting through the shadows. They traveled deeper into the forest, following the faint sounds of life around them. Birds chirped in the trees, and small creatures scurried in the undergrowth. Emily felt a sense of wonder despite the dangers that surrounded her. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash nearby. Emily stopped, her heart pounding. "What was that?" she asked Luma. The creature tilted its head, its eyes wide with curiosity. They moved cautiously toward the sound, ready for anything. As they approached, they found a group of her team members huddled together, looking frightened. Jake stood with a makeshift weapon, while Sarah was trying to fix a damaged device. Emily felt a rush of relief. "You found us," she shouted, running toward them. "Emily," Jake exclaimed, his face lighting up with joy. "We were worried about you." The team quickly surrounded her, relieved to see her safe. "What happened to you?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with concern. Emily took a deep breath and shared the story of her encounter with the glowing creature and the predator. "This is Luma," she said, gesturing to the small creature beside her. "It helped me escape." The team stared in amazement at Luma, its glow illuminating the area around them. "We have to protect it," Marcus said, kneeling down to look at Luma. It's not just a creature, it's a friend. The team agreed. They realized that Luma was not only special, but also a key to understanding this alien world. Just then, they heard the roar of the predator again, echoing through the trees. "We need to move, and fast," Jake shouted, urgency in his voice. "Can Luma help us?" Emily looked at Luma, and the creature seemed to understand. It began to hum softly, a sound that resonated in the air. "What is it doing?" Sarah asked, watching in awe. Luma moved ahead, guiding them through the forest. Emily felt a new sense of hope. With Luma as their ally, they might stand a chance against the dangers ahead. As they ran, Emily felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She was not just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for her team and for Luma. Together, they were stronger, and together, they would face whatever came next. With Luma leading the way, the group pressed on, ready to face their challenges. They had formed an unlikely alliance, and Emily knew they would do everything they could to survive. The mission. As the sun rose over the horizon, the forest of Zoreth glowed in brilliant colors. Emily and her team gathered in a small clearing, ready to discuss their plan. They sat in a circle, and Luma rested in the middle, its soft light giving them comfort. Emily looked at her friends and felt a surge of determination. "We need to find the predator's nest and stop it," Emily said firmly. "It's not just about surviving. We have to protect Luma's people." Jake nodded, his expression serious. "But we need to be careful. That creature is dangerous, and we can't underestimate it." Sarah was busy checking her equipment. "I can set up some gadgets to help us. I just need a bit more time," she said, her fingers flying over the buttons of a small device. "Let's make sure we have everything we need before we go," Marcus added, glancing around the group. "We'll stick together and watch each other's backs." With a plan in place, the team spent the morning preparing. Sarah worked on her gadgets while Marcus and Jake collected supplies. Emily gathered data from her previous encounters with the predator. Luma watched them closely, humming softly, as if encouraging their efforts. Once they were ready, Emily took a deep breath. "Luma, can you lead us to the predator's nest?" she asked. The creature looked up and nodded, its glow brightening in response. With Luma guiding them, the group set off into the forest. They moved quietly, staying alert for any signs of danger. The atmosphere was tense, and Emily could feel her heart pounding. She was determined to protect her friends and help Luma. As they walked, Luma would occasionally pause, sensing the environment around them. It led them through thick brush and over rocky paths. The team relied on each other, communicating with hand signals and soft whispers. The forest was beautiful, but it felt alive with danger. Suddenly, Luma stopped and raised its glowing body. It emitted a low hum that echoed through the trees. The team paused, their hearts racing. Emily crouched beside Luma, trying to understand what it sensed. Jake looked ahead and whispered, "I see movement." It could be the predator. The group quickly huddled together, their breaths shallow. They could see shadows moving in the distance. Emily's mind raced with thoughts of what could happen if they were spotted. "We need to stay hidden," she urged. As they waited, Emily felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The lives of her team and Luma depended on her choices. She was determined to lead them safely. After a few tense moments, the shadows disappeared. Luma relaxed, and the team let out a collective sigh of relief. "That was close," Sarah said, her eyes wide with fear. Emily stood up, feeling a mix of relief and urgency. "Let's keep moving. We have to find that nest before it finds us." They continued deeper into the forest, guided by Luma's light. The atmosphere was thick with tension, but they pressed on, fueled by their determination. After what felt like hours, they arrived at a large clearing. In the center, they saw a massive structure that looked like a nest made of twisted branches and stones. The air felt heavy with danger, and Emily knew this was it. "This must be it," she whispered, her heart racing. We found the predator's home. The team gathered together, ready to make their final plan. They would confront the predator and protect Luma's people. Together, they felt stronger, ready to face the challenges ahead. Emily knew they had to fight for their survival and for the future of this alien world. The journey. The sun hung high in the sky as Emily and her team stood at the edge of the clearing, staring at the predator's nest. The air felt thick with tension, but they knew they had to move. "This is it," Jake said, looking around at his friends. "We can do this together." With Luma leading the way, they began their journey toward the nest. The forest was alive with sounds: birds chirping, insects buzzing, and the rustle of leaves. Every step felt like a step into the unknown, and Emily's heart raced with excitement and fear. As they walked, Emily took a moment to look at Luma, glowing brightly in front of them. She felt grateful for the creature's presence. Luma seemed to understand the danger they were in and moved carefully, pausing often to check their surroundings. "Stick close to Luma," she reminded the team. "It will help guide us." The path was narrow and winding, filled with strange plants and rocks. They had to be careful where they stepped, as some of the plants looked sharp and dangerous. Emily's mind raced with thoughts of the predator lurking nearby. What if it attacks? She worried, glancing back at her friends. Suddenly, Sarah stumbled over a root and fell to the ground. "Ouch!" she cried, rubbing her knee. "I'm okay, but we need to be careful." Jake helped her up, concern on his face. "Let's take a short break," he said, glancing around. "We need to stay focused." As they rested, Emily felt a sense of urgency. "We can't let fear stop us," she said. "We have to keep going. The longer we wait, the more danger we face." They nodded, understanding the truth in her words. After a few moments, they pushed onward. The forest began to change, becoming darker and thicker. The trees were taller, and the shadows loomed around them. Emily could feel the atmosphere growing tense. As they traveled, Emily thought about the predator. What if it attacks? Her mind was filled with images of the fierce creature. She felt a knot in her stomach, but pushed the fear away. They were a team, and together they were stronger. Luma paused suddenly, its body glowing brighter. The creature turned, its eyes fixed on something in the distance. The team stopped, holding their breath. "What is it?" Emily whispered, her heart pounding. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the trees. "It's coming," Marcus whispered, his voice shaking with fear. They all turned, ready to run if needed. Just then, a large shadow moved through the trees. It was the predator. Emily's heart raced as she saw the creature's sharp teeth and glowing eyes. "We need to hide," she shouted. The team quickly ducked behind a thick bush, their breaths silent as they waited. The predator came closer, sniffing the air. Emily could see its muscles rippling under its rough skin. The creature paused, seeming to sense something. It turned its head in their direction, and Emily's heart stopped. What if it finds us? But just then, Luma stepped forward, its light shining brightly. The predator's eyes widened in surprise. For a moment, the two creatures stood still, locked in a strange standoff. Emily held her breath, unsure of what would happen next. To everyone's surprise, the predator seemed to relax. It turned away, its attention caught by something else in the forest. The team exhaled collectively, relieved but still shaken. "That was too close," Sarah whispered, shaking slightly. "We have to be more careful." Emily nodded, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. "We'll find a way through this. Together, we can face anything." With renewed determination, they continued their journey, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Luma led them forward, its light guiding the way. The adventure was just beginning, and Emily felt a sense of hope. Confrontation. The air grew thick with tension as Emily and her team approached the predator's nest. The structure loomed before them, made of twisted branches and dark stones. The sun had begun to set, casting long shadows across the clearing. Emily could feel her heart pounding in her chest as they drew closer. This was the moment they had prepared for. "Stay close and keep quiet," Jake whispered, his voice barely above a whisper. The team nodded, their faces determined but filled with apprehension. Luma stayed by Emily's side, glowing softly as it sensed the danger ahead. As they reached the edge of the clearing, Emily motioned for everyone to stop. She scanned the area, searching for any sign of the predator. "We need a plan," she said, her mind racing. "Luma, can you guide us?" Luma moved forward, its glow brightening the dim light of the clearing. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the nest, sending chills down Emily's spine. The predator was inside, and it was not happy. "What do we do?" Marcus asked, his voice trembling slightly. "We can't just walk in there." "We need to draw it out," Emily suggested. "If we can get it away from the nest, we might be able to save Luma's people." Jake nodded. "I have a few tricks up my sleeve. Let's use Sarah's gadgets to create a distraction." With a plan in place, they worked quickly. Sarah set up small devices that made loud noises and bright flashes. They positioned them near the edge of the clearing, hoping to catch the predator's attention. "Ready?" Jake asked, looking at everyone. They nodded, their hearts racing in unison. "Now," Sarah shouted. She activated the gadgets, and a series of loud beeps and flashes erupted in the clearing. The sound echoed through the forest, and the predator immediately reacted. It burst from the nest, its eyes wide with anger. Emily's heart raced as she watched the creature charge toward the noise. "Now's our chance. Let's go," she yelled, leading the way toward the nest. They moved quickly, their adrenaline pumping. Luma followed closely, glowing brightly and providing light. As they reached the nest, Emily peered inside, her breath hitching in her throat. Inside, she saw several small creatures trapped within a web of branches. They looked like Luma, but smaller and more fragile. "This must be Luma's family," she exclaimed, feeling the surge of determination. "Let's free them," Marcus said, rushing toward the trapped creatures. He began carefully pulling apart the branches, trying to release them without hurting them. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the clearing. The predator had returned, furious at being tricked. It charged back toward them, its sharp teeth bared and eyes filled with rage. "Get back," Jake shouted, stepping in front of Emily and the trapped creatures. He picked up a branch, ready to defend them. "We can't let it hurt anyone." Luma stepped forward, its glow brightening as it faced the predator. The creature paused, confused by the small, glowing being. Emily watched in awe as Luma let out a soft hum, filling the air with a calming energy. "Luma, be careful," Emily warned, feeling a mix of fear and hope. She didn't know how the predator would react. The predator hesitated, its aggressive stance softening slightly. It seemed to sense Luma's peaceful energy. "Maybe it doesn't want to fight," Sarah whispered, her eyes wide. Taking a deep breath, Emily stepped forward. "We don't want to hurt you," she said, her voice steady. "We just want to help Luma's family." The predator growled but did not attack. Instead, it seemed to be considering their words. Emily felt a glimmer of hope. "We can find a way to live together," she said softly, feeling the weight of their situation. As the tension hung in the air, Luma continued to hum, and slowly the predator lowered its head, its eyes softening. Emily knew they had a chance. Together, they could find a way to create peace in this strange and beautiful world. Sacrifice. The atmosphere was tense in the clearing as Emily, Jake, Sarah, Marcus, and Luma faced the fierce predator. The creature had lowered its head, and for a moment, there was silence. Emily could feel her heart pounding in her chest. Would they find a way to resolve this conflict? "Luma, stay close," she whispered, watching the predator closely. The small creature glowed softly, still humming that calming tune. Emily felt a connection between Luma and the predator. It was as if they were both trying to communicate, trying to find a solution. Suddenly, the predator let out a low growl, and its eyes darted toward the trapped creatures in the nest. It seemed to remember its role as a protector, but Emily knew it was acting out of fear. She had to do something to calm the situation. "We don't want to fight," Emily said, stepping forward cautiously. "We just want to help. We know you are trying to protect your home." The predator raised its head, and Emily noticed a flicker of confusion in its eyes. It was torn between its instincts and the peace that Luma was offering. "Maybe we can help each other," Sarah suggested, glancing at the trapped creatures. "If we set them free, would you allow us to leave peacefully?" The predator's growl softened, but it did not move. Jake took a deep breath, stepping next to Emily. "We have to show it we mean no harm. It has to trust us." Emily nodded, feeling the weight of their decision. She looked at Luma and then back at the predator. "If we work together, we can create a safe place for all of us." Just then, the predator let out a low roar, echoing through the trees. Emily felt a wave of fear wash over her. It was a warning, but it also felt like a plea. "What if it needs help?" Marcus asked, his voice filled with concern. "What if it's not just protecting its nest, but is also in danger?" Emily's mind raced. What if the predator was acting out of desperation? She thought about the planet's delicate balance and how every creature had its role. "Luma, can you connect with it?" she asked, hoping for a miracle. Luma stepped forward, its glow brightening even more. The small creature began to hum a gentle tune, filling the air with a warm energy. Emily watched as the predator's stance softened. It seemed to be listening. "I think it's responding," Jake said, his eyes wide with hope. But Emily knew they had to act quickly. Time was running out. Emily took a deep breath and made a bold decision. "I'll go to the nest and free the creatures," she said firmly. "Maybe that will show it we mean no harm." "Emily, wait," Jake protested, grabbing her arm. "It's too dangerous." "I have to do this," she replied, looking into his eyes. "We need to show the predator that we want peace." With that, she slowly approached the nest, her heart racing. The predator watched her closely, its eyes narrowing. Emily could feel the tension in the air. She reached the nest and began carefully pulling apart the branches, freeing the trapped creatures. They looked frightened but hopeful as they scrambled out. The predator watched, its growl fading into silence. Just then, one of the creatures turned and looked at Emily. Its eyes were wide with gratitude. Emily felt a rush of warmth. They were all connected in this moment, bound by a common goal. As she finished freeing the last creature, the predator took a step closer. Emily could see the mixture of fear and curiosity in its eyes. Would this be enough to earn its trust? In that moment, Luma stepped forward and hummed louder, sending a wave of calming energy toward the predator. Emily held her breath, hoping for a miracle. The predator paused, its fierce exterior softening as it looked at Luma and then back at Emily. They had reached a critical moment. Emily realized that sometimes, to achieve peace, one must be willing to sacrifice. With her heart pounding, she knew that this was just the beginning of a much larger journey. The aftermath. The sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting a warm light across the clearing. Emily stood at the edge of the nest, her heart still racing from the confrontation. The predator had finally stepped back, its fierce demeanor fading as it watched Luma and the newly freed creatures. She felt a mixture of relief and hope. They had faced their fears and chosen a path of peace. Around her, the team began to regroup. Jake, Sarah, and Marcus shared wide smiles, their faces reflecting the joy of the moment. They had worked together to create a bond with the predator, and it had listened. "We did it," Sarah exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "I can't believe it actually worked." "Luma really helped," Marcus said, looking at the small creature with admiration. Luma glowed softly, humming a gentle tune that seemed to celebrate their success. The freed creatures huddled close to Luma, their eyes filled with gratitude. But as Emily looked at the predator, a sense of concern washed over her. Would it truly accept them? The creature still stood at the edge of the clearing, watching them with its sharp eyes. It was clear that while they had made progress, the road ahead would not be easy. Emily took a step forward, wanting to show her sincerity. "We want to help you and your home," she said, her voice steady. The predator tilted its head, listening carefully. "Together, we can create a safe place for all of us." The predator growled softly, a sound that echoed with uncertainty. Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She knew they had to prove their intentions. "Let's build a place where we can all live together," she suggested, turning to her team. "We can clear the area around the nest and make it safer." Jake nodded eagerly. "Yes, we can create barriers and safe zones. It's a good start. Luma can help guide us," Sarah added. "It knows this area better than we do." With a plan in mind, the team set to work. They gathered branches and stones, building a safe boundary around the nest. Emily felt a sense of purpose as they worked together, every member of the team contributing to the effort. Luma hovered nearby, its light illuminating their path and offering encouragement. As the day went on, they made progress. The predator watched from a distance, its expression still cautious but curious. Emily felt a flicker of hope each time it moved closer, and soon, the creature was standing just outside the boundary they had created. "Maybe it wants to be part of this too," Marcus said, glancing at Emily. She nodded, feeling the weight of their shared journey. That evening, as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle in the sky, the team gathered around a small fire. They shared stories, laughter, and hope for the future. The predator had stayed nearby, observing them with its keen eyes. "Do you think it will trust us?" Sarah asked, gazing at the creature. Emily shrugged. "Trust takes time, but we're on the right path." As the night wore on, Luma moved closer to the predator, humming softly. It seemed to sense the creature's need for connection. Emily watched as the predator lowered its head, allowing Luma to approach. For the first time, the predator did not growl. It accepted Luma's presence. In that moment, Emily realized that they had all changed. They had faced fear and uncertainty, but together they had chosen understanding and kindness. The journey was far from over, but they had taken the first steps toward a brighter future. As the fire crackled and the stars shone brightly above, Emily felt a surge of hope. They had built a bridge between worlds, one that could lead to peace. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by their shared journey and newfound trust. A new dawn. The first light of dawn spilled over the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange. Emily woke up to the sound of chirping birds and a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves. She sat up, stretching her arms, and looked around the clearing. The previous day's events filled her mind, and she felt a sense of calm wash over her. Her team was still sleeping, huddled close together around the remains of the fire. Luma, however, was awake and hovering nearby. It glowed softly, illuminating the area with a warm light. The predator stood at the edge of the clearing, its massive form silhouetted against the morning sky. Emily felt a surge of hope as she realized that they had made it through the night safely. "Good morning, Luma," she said softly, approaching the small creature. Luma turned toward her, its eyes sparkling with a gentle light. "Do you think the predator will accept us today?" she asked, her voice filled with hope. Luma hummed softly in response, and Emily took that as a good sign. She knew that building trust would take time, but she was determined to show the predator they meant no harm. As her team began to stir, Emily gathered everyone around. "Let's make today a day of new beginnings," she suggested, her excitement growing. "We can work on creating a safe space for all of us." Jake rubbed his eyes and nodded. "That sounds great. Let's show the predator that we want to live together." With renewed energy, they set to work. They decided to expand the safe boundary they had created, using branches, stones, and whatever materials they could find. Luma led the way, its light guiding them as they moved through the forest. As they worked, Emily noticed the predator watching them closely. It was still cautious but seemed more relaxed than before. "It's learning," Sarah said, glancing back at the creature. "I think it's starting to understand that we are not a threat." After hours of hard work, they had built a sturdy boundary around the nest. The area felt safer and more welcoming. Emily looked at the predator, her heart racing with hope. "This is for you too," she said, her voice steady. "We want to protect you and your home." Just then, the predator stepped closer, its massive head lowered. Emily held her breath, unsure of what would happen next. The creature sniffed the air, then turned its gaze toward the newly constructed boundary. Suddenly, it moved forward and touched the boundary with its nose. Emily's heart soared. "It likes it," she exclaimed. The team gathered around, their faces bright with excitement. Luma floated closer, humming a joyful tune. The predator seemed to respond, its eyes softening. It was a moment of connection, a sign that trust was beginning to form. Emily could hardly believe what she was witnessing. With the sun rising higher in the sky, they took a break to enjoy the beautiful day. They shared fruits and water, laughing and talking about their journey. Emily felt a deep sense of unity among her team. They had faced challenges together and had come out stronger. As they sat together, the predator lingered nearby, watching them with curious eyes. Emily realized that they had not only built a physical boundary, but also a bridge of understanding. "Today marks a new dawn for all of us," Emily said, her heart full of hope. "We can create a home where all beings can live in harmony." With a smile, she looked at her friends and Luma, feeling grateful for their journey. The sun shone brightly overhead, illuminating the path ahead. Together, they were ready to embrace the future, hand in hand with their new ally. The journey was far from over, but Emily felt a deep sense of purpose. With trust and cooperation, they would build a world where humans and aliens could thrive together, united under the same sky.